This song was written and produced by Kimosabe. It was my first single. I released this in 2017, so it's quite a special one.
You gives me such a rush. My mama thinks that you don't love for long, but I guess I hope she means that it's wrong, so wrong. Oh mama, wamwaendiala watimtana musasukala watilumfana kalungala
Sanbonani Dumelang Zvari. Welcome to Urban Music, the interview. We're hanging out with Zikhona. What an incredible artist. By the way, na kalina ken na busi mara baba khulu baba dese bariki the Queen of Pitori. Zikhona, what a winner, girl. You're a winner. She's been winning, eh? Even in the winning choir for Clash of the Choirs, eh? Top 16, The Voice SA, eh? Working with superstars. Welcome to Urban Music.
Thank you for having me. I love these intros. Let's do it again.
Rewind, yeah. Anything, hey. But look, you've actually been winning, like on a serious level. You've been, you know. But tell us about the streak of winning from when you actually started singing when you were very young.
I think, I don't know, maybe this is going to be a humble brag or whatever, but my cultural activities or the cultural side of me has always won over academics. You know, since high school, I've just been the Zikhona who sings, the Zikhona who plays the marimba, the Zikhona who's in the orchestra. And my parents actually, when they found out that I was so passionate about the arts, I think it made them a little nervous because I'm just a person who can get distracted, you know, easily.
Sure.
So sometimes I would have spent a few more hours maybe in practice, choir practice, than doing my homework or, you know, being home at a certain time. But they got used to it, and then for me it started becoming more than just a hobby or something that I do after school, and I realized I actually love this thing. I remember there's a competition that we were doing at school. This is where this winning thing started. This me being addicted to winning.
Yes, honey.
I was nominated to be a director of my house. So in high school we had this thing called houses. It was a greenhouse. It was called Grahamstown, so I was elected the captain for that. So you had to choose a song, one Vernac song, one English song, and arrange that song, make it your own, and you teach them.
Okay.
Mind you, not the whole school can sing. Like they just put everyone there, and it was so challenging, and it was so rewarding when I actually got up on that stage and I got that certificate when my team won. And from then on I was like, nope, okay, I'm making my decision. This is my path. Yeah.
Okay, and you actually then completed high school. How, Miguel, a graduate of note, you understand. But your qualification has absolutely nothing to do with the arts, with the creative space. How did you go about choosing what you actually studied for?
So initially I wanted to study music. I wanted to do a Bachelor of Music, and this was now in Matric, and my parents and my family and everyone close to me had established already that now, okay, I'm a singer, I can do this. And to be quite honest, they weren't really like 100% supportive of the idea because they're like, you kind of like have this natural talent already. Let us give you this opportunity rather. Do you want to choose anything else? And I was into not really programming then, but I'm a person who just likes to challenge myself. And I was like, let me do this degree that a lot of females are really scared of, or you know, they're not, I don't know, maybe not brave enough to do it, but it's just out of the ordinary. And I was like, okay, let me just do first year. I'll see what how well I can do. And the girl graduated with a distinction. And I'm like, okay, actually, I can do better.
I'm talking to you, jailer. Hey, stop calling me a prisoner. Let he who is without sin be the first to cast a stone. Mr. Jailer, hey, Mr. Jailer man.
I can do better than what I thought I could have done. And so I landed up in the IT field. Now I'm a 2-time IT graduate, and I've also been juggling music at the same time. So,
wow, you must have an honors degree, post-grad, okay, post-grad. But look, you've also done amazing things in terms of traveling. You traveled to Austria, and music actually made you go there.
Yes.
What happened?
So this was in Matric, and we had an opportunity to tour to Europe in Matric, but only selective people could go, right? And there were also fans involved. So I almost didn't go actually because of other reasons, and I was very, I felt bad, man, because my parents were already coughing out a lot of money for me to go to a Model C school, and growing up in the township already that felt like a win to me. But I was like, you know what, it's not necessary. And my mom and my dad went out their way to actually get me onto that plane. Flew and met a lot of Germans, and they actually loved Xhosa, surprisingly. So that was a festival that was running through high schools. We met a lot of international students there as well. I won't lie, I was homesick. I was a baby then, and being out of the country for the first time, I got a little taste of how it feels like to actually tour outside of your out of South Africa, out of my comfort zone.
What did that do for you as a person? Like just being outside somewhere else completely, where they don't even understand like your normal everyday language.
I was nervous, I won't lie, and I was that girl that had quite a few solos in most of the songs. And I sang opera, by the way, in high school. So I was like, okay, if there's boys in the car, now they're gonna hear me sing this, this sound. There were just a lot of things that were going through my mind, but after that I got a lot of compliments. And I remember there was a B&B that we visited, and the owner of the B&B had a backroom studio.
Wow.
So I was that girl who in my language, is like, hey, this one likes things. They were like, who wants to jump on the mic? I was like, oh God. And then I think I did a Beyonce cover, and we kept it, and it was part of the CD that we recorded.
Wow.
It's at home somewhere. My mom kept it. I've just always been that curious and just a lover of music.
That's really, really amazing. So now let's reimagine it, right? Let's reimagine it. Now you enter the stage. Now this is The Voice South Africa. You're probably very, very nervous.
I can already see it.
Who do you think turns around, or who do you think is going to turn around and choose you, and who actually did?
I thought it was going to be Lyra, because I told myself I wanted to be in her team when I entered the competition. And to my surprise, Kahn from the Polytones turned for me. I'm like, what's going on? And it was actually surprising, I was nervous. I'm like, I don't know, I just want someone that I can connect to, someone, I can just, that thing of listening to an Afro-pop artist or someone you just grew up listening to, right? And I listened to a lot of Lyra. Even before The Voice, I remember Lyra was shooting a music video. This is a story that I think I told someone else who asked me in a Q&A I did before. And I was like, by the way, I used to be an extra in a video before anyone else knew that I
Wow.
could sing. I remember Lyra posted it and they were looking for an extra, and I was like, I'm gonna go to Joburg. This was like from Eastern Cape to Joburg. I took a bus, you guys. I took a bus to Joburg to be an extra in the Lyra music video.
Hey man, hey, and look at you now.
And when I told her that story, she couldn't believe it. But I was so happy that I was actually in Kahn Movies team, because I just learned a lot of stuff that I didn't know about myself musically. I automatically saw myself singing Vanek songs if I was in Lyra's team, but I did the opposite. I even did a rock song.
Wow.
You know, when I was in his team, it was quite challenging. The voice it's a lot.
Sure.
Like, it's the voice. You're just there for the voice. Nothing else, nothing extra. But great experience otherwise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ubunzima bundifundisa ukunyamezela, bangandihleka noma bangicinezele. No.
Before The Voice, Clash of the Choirs happened. I mean, we saw how intense. I mean, from watching on TV, it was intense rehearsals, a lot of traveling, the up and down. What was the experience like, and especially going on to win?
Yeah, that was a lot. By the way, let me correct you. We were in the top 3.
Okay.
Yeah. So the winning choir was actually the Durban choir. I presented the Gauteng choir.
Okay.
So they still called us the finalists. And when people say we won, sometimes it's like, yeah, we won, guys. So yeah, Clash of the Choirs experience was my first. It was like my debut TV experience. I was still in varsity. I actually. My parents didn't know I went to go audition until they got a call from me. Mom, like, I made it to the choir. What choir now? I'm gonna be on TV. What? When? When did this happen? So I'm just like, I'm a rebel like that.
Yeah.
But in a good way, because I do it for the things that I love, you know. So fast forward to that, meeting celebrities then, and also I was new to Joburg when I was in varsity, because I'm from Eastern Cape, and I came here for varsity, you know. I was staying at Res as well, and it was just it was an eye-opening experience, and I thought everything on TV like looked so simple.
Yeah.
I was like, why do we have to shoot this again and again and again? The rehearsals were quite exhausting.
Sure.
Sometimes we didn't get the songs right. We didn't pick the right song. We didn't pick the right leader to lead. But luckily I had some experience from high school being in choirs and just gelling with people. I was just that bubbly one, you know, that one that was just, you know, always happy for rehearsals and so the performance part of it was quite nerve-wracking until I started becoming familiar with the stage and, you know, being directed, especially after you see that first comment or that tweet, like, oh, I love the Zikhona girl. You're like, oh, people actually like me.
Cool.
Yeah, you know, so why should I be nervous? Yeah, it was a fun experience. Yeah.
That's really cool. And then you went on to work with some superstars, eh? Mogul SA, Cuebur, DJ Clock, DJ Chase.
Yeah.
How, like, I mean, those are heavy names, you understand? How did that association even start?
I think I met them at the right time, you know, of my career. If I had met them earlier, I don't think I was sure in which direction I wanted to go as well as a vocalist, because doing solo songs is quite challenging. You know, you have to be unique as well.
Yeah.
So I always met someone through someone, then I met another one through another one, and then that's how it all happened, right? So I think I first met the Mogul SA. The Mogul SA was working with a friend of mine, Ami Faku. I met Ami Faku on The Voice as well.
Okay.
So I was like, I like the song that he did with Ami Faku, and then he followed me on socials, and then he was like, hey, listen to this beat, and then we worked together. Then I went to go record at a studio for him, only to find out Chase was in that studio.
Okay.
And then Chase was like, oh, I have a song for you. Then I went back to the studio.
Okay.
When I got back the second time, Cuebur's there to fix something. And I'm like, hey, you're Cuebur. He's like, hey, you're Zikhona.
Yeah.
Like, oh, let's exchange numbers. And that's how it works.
Sure.
And yeah, it's been awesome actually. They're quite humble people. I know sometimes if I tell people, oh, I've worked with you, oh yeah, I work with you. I'm like, actually they down to earth and they're not as, you know, as people think they are, you know, like, I'm not celebrity. Because like I'm an upcoming artist, I see myself as an upcoming artist. So sometimes when these DJs like they DM me and they ask to collaborate with me, I still get shocked and a little intimidated.
Yeah.
But also it means there must be something right that I'm doing, you know.
Being something right that you're doing, okay? So as we wrap it up, Nem, when you started your performance, or during the performance rather, you spoke a little bit about the challenges, the really deep moments that you had that really knocked you down.
Yeah.
Tell us more about those.
Whew, I don't know where to start. I think firstly, let me just start it on a lighter note. It's being in an industry where, let's say, okay, for example, Amanda Black is also from Eastern Cape, and I'm also from Eastern Cape, and I want to be in the scene, but how do I prove to people that I'm unique, even though, you know, someone might categorize me the same as another artist that's from the same location as me. Sometimes I feel like we're being overlooked because you're just being grouped into one category. So you can easily fall into, if I wanted to, I would have been maybe an Afro-pop singer, but there's so much more that I want to do. But it's like, how do you teach listeners that because in Detectives Calls, it doesn't mean that like I want to sing Afro-pop. And now like with this hip-hop song that I'll perform, I like to mix a bit of English and then I add closer just to surprise people, just to see that, you know, to show people that there's a lot more to our creativity than just being, now I must be labeled a hip-hop star. I don't want to just be a rapper. Like, I want to be an artist holistically. So it's those challenges, and now you don't know who to approach, you don't know what to pitch, especially if you're quite inexperienced. So it's just those challenges. I was like, I don't know people, I need to network. Like, I don't know big names, and even if I record a song, okay, that's the easy part. How do I make sure that I'm a mainstream artist and my songs will be played on radio? Sometimes it's just demotivating because you're like, man, I poured my heart and soul into this album and I'm only getting 10 streams. But you must always go back to why you started. And sometimes for me, I write a song, it doesn't leave the house and I'm already fulfilled. And by the time someone else hears it, I must know. So it's just those things that I have to go back to myself, you know, go back and just answer those questions to myself. Why, you know, did I start? Another big one that I wanted to raise was the contrast between an independent artist and being a signed artist.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm lucky enough that I've actually had a taste of both worlds, but it's not all roses and petals in these labels.
Sure.
That's all I can say. But I advise that if you get that opportunity, rather see it for yourself, experience it for yourself, so that you know what are the right connections, what are the right terms, what are the right contracts for you, the right deals. There's no wrong decision that you would have made if you sign, you know, to a label or something. But just be vigilant, you know, and just know who has your back. Like, there's a lot of sharks out here, you know.
So you got signed directly after The Voice. Is there anything you want to tell us? Because it seems like you are locking up some things there on the inside.
You know what? I don't want to say much. You know, I've had my experiences. I wouldn't, if I had an opportunity to experience that again, I probably would, because I wouldn't have known. I was fresh from a competition, and I only made it as far as top 16. I was obviously bummed because like the closer you get, man, to the front, you're like, I can actually win this, because I was from top 100. I was like, from top 100 to top 16. Why, like, what can stop me? I could win this thing, and then when that's taken away from you, and then there's someone spots you, we see something in you, hop onto our bandwagon, or whatever. Like, we can do this for you, we can do that. You're blinded,
It's a movie thing.
Like, they're showing you, like, hey, we can do this, we can do that, and you just you want to jump into the opportunity because you don't know when next that opportunity might come. So you only find out if you're there. I can't say much about it. It's actually a good and a bad thing.
Okay. What's the bad?
The bad, you might be controlled. You might be doing things that are not 100% your decisions because they think of monetary value. They think of because it's also a business for them.
Yeah.
And they didn't sign you because they like you, Jay. You're just gonna be recording it. They have to make earnings out of it. So sometimes you're gonna be in uncomfortable situations where you have to give up a lot of your time. I remember when I was still signed, I was working a 9 to 5 as well. I'd have to give up my lunch breaks to go jump in the studio, record, maybe do a chorus nyana, and one verse, and then go back after work. And it's a lot. You have to be prepared mentally. You have to be prepared. You have to give up a lot of your time, if you want to be there. It was just a lot of that. I was like, do I really want to do this if it means I have to give up my sleep? But
very important also because
Yeah.
people are like, yo, I want to get signed, I want to get signed, but they don't know. It's rough. But as we end our conversation, I know you've got an EP that you're working on. Tell us more. Who have you worked with? When can we expect it?
For mine is so galore. For mine is so galore. But
I haven't thought of a release date yet. This is going to be my debut project actually, because I've only been releasing singles and been featured. It's actually going to catch people by surprise because most of the songs that I've been featured on are house songs. This one is a new sound that I'm doing. I'll give you a hint. The song that I performed at the end is in that EP.
What a tune.
So you can expect some bangers. I haven't worked with anyone yet in terms of features, but I've been working with some producers. Another one is Sebastian. He calls himself Casing. He's from Switzerland. He's also Cuba's friend, and then Cuba obviously produced this one, Ego, that I was doing. I'm excited about it. I can't say much about it. I want to keep it to myself for now.
I know. We'll just keep asking. That is cool. When can we expect it? This year?
This year, definitely this year.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
We will hold you to
something
that.
to look forward to after this lockdown business. Hey, yeah.
Plus, not a visa, so I'll try.
Yeah.
So, big shout out. Thank you so much for having joined us.
Thank you for having me.
By the way, the combos,
I'm communicating.
And I love that.
I just want that hat, just to complete my look.
But yeah, that is our conversation with Zikhona. She actually just came all the way through on Urban Music Live and Unplugged. This is Nyana, the conversation. You've heard EP coming up. I'm really, really excited about that, considering that stellar performance that we actually experienced. So stick around, make sure that you share. The right people need to hear the right things, including you understand? So from Zikhona and myself, Kalina Kinabusi, Marababa Kulu, Baba Dese, Bariki the Queen of Pitori, and we are out of here.
For money so galant, for money so galant, for money so galant, For money so galant, for Fumane so galante, fumane so galante.